There comes a moment after 60 when anxiety feels different than it did years ago. It's quieter, but deeper. It hides beneath ordinary days, slips into the late evening hours, and whispers questions about health, purpose, and time. If you feel this, you are not failing. You are simply human, moving through a profound stage of life. And Buddhist wisdom offers something rare, not false promises, not quick fixes, but gentle truths that dissolve anxiety from the inside out. If you stay with me, I'll walk you through 10 of these truths, one by one, spoken directly to you for where you are now. Truth 1. The mind creates storms that the body believes. One of the first teachings the Buddha offered was astonishingly simple. The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. After 60, the mind becomes even more skilled at creating storms. A sudden ache becomes a sign of decline. A forgotten word becomes a threat. A quiet house becomes a warning of loneliness. But these storms are illusions the body reacts to as if they're real. I want you to hear this. Your anxiety is often your mind rehearsing a future that does not exist. Not a prophecy, not a truth, just a rehearsal. And you've survived every imagined catastrophe your mind has ever thrown at you. Every single one. Buddhist practice asks something gentle. Notice the storm without following it. When the mind says, "This pain means something terrible," you breathe once, place a hand over your chest and whisper, "This is a thought, not a fate." When the mind says, "I'm running out of time," you bring your awareness to the present moment, where time is kind and spacious. The storm weakens, the body softens, and you remember the mind is powerful, but you are more powerful still. Truth 2. Fear grows in silence, but shrinks in awareness. After 60, many people carry fears they've never spoken aloud. Fears about the future, about being alone, about worsening health, about becoming a burden. These fears try to live in the dark corners of the mind like uninvited guests, and anything hidden tends to grow. Buddhist wisdom teaches that fear cannot survive direct awareness. The moment you turn toward it with gentle attention, its shape changes. What once felt enormous becomes understandable, manageable, even tender. You don't defeat fear by force, you dissolve it by seeing it clearly. Try this small practice. The next time anxiety rises, instead of pushing it away, simply name it. Say softly, "Ah, fear is here." That's it. No judgment, no analysis, just recognition. Naming is powerful. It activates a part of you that is larger than the fear. The witness, the observer, the one who has lived through decades of storms and sunshine. And that wiser part of you understands something crucial. Fear is a visitor, not the owner of the house. When you see it as a visitor, it loses its authority. It stays for a moment, but it cannot stay forever. And in that awareness, anxiety begins to loosen its grip. Truth 3. The present moment is the only safe place. Anxiety after 60 often comes from living in two places at once, the past you can't change and the future you can't control. The Buddha taught that suffering blooms most intensely when the mind wanders into those territories. The present moment, however, is gentle, it is simple, it is safe. Right now, as you listen, nothing terrible is happening. You are breathing, you are here, and this moment is enough. But anxiety pulls you out of the present with images of what if? What if my health worsens? What if I end up alone? What if I won't be able to handle what's coming? The mind thinks that rehearsing danger will protect you from it, but it doesn't. It only exhausts you. There is a Buddhist practice called anchoring. It means choosing one small thing in the present to hold your awareness. The warmth of your hands, the softness of your breath, the quiet sound nearest to you. These anchors return you to the only place where peace actually lives. Try this now. Take one slow breath. Feel its fullness. Feel the soft release. That breath is a doorway. The moment you step through it, your mind stops sprinting into futures that don't exist. Every time anxiety appears, use the breath as your anchor. Return to the here and now. Return to the single place where your strength actually resides. The present moment has never harmed you. It has only held you. Truth 4. Letting go is not losing, it's lightening the load. One of the hardest truths after 60 is the reality of change. Relationships shift, bodies change, roles fade, and deep inside, anxiety whispers that every letting go is a loss, a diminishment, a step closer to irrelevance. But Buddhist wisdom teaches something radically freeing. Letting go is not losing. It is lightening the load. It is choosing not to carry what has become too heavy for your spirit. Think of your life as a long journey. When you were younger, you could carry more responsibilities, expectations, obligations, and emotional weight. But now your wisdom knows better. Your heart knows what is essential. Buddhism teaches that clinging is the root of suffering, but release is the beginning of peace. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving yourself permission to breathe again. You can let go of old grudges you've carried for decades. You can let go of perfection, of needing to be strong all the time. You can let go of the idea that you must stay the same person you were at 30 or 45 or 55. Letting go creates space for gentleness, for acceptance, for a life that fits who you are now. Try this practice. Imagine setting down one burden, a worry, an expectation, a disappointment, as if placing it gently beside you. Notice how the body softens when you stop tightening around something you no longer need. In the emptiness that remains, you don't lose yourself. You rediscover yourself. And with each release, the anxiety you've been carrying begins to lighten. Truth 5. Aging is not an enemy, it is a teacher. Many people over 60 feel anxiety because they believe aging is a descent, a decline, a narrowing, a loss of possibilities. But in Buddhist tradition, aging is not an enemy. It is one of the greatest teachers you will ever have. Aging teaches impermanence, humility, gratitude, and presence. It reveals what truly matters by gently stripping away what never did. And if you listen closely, it offers a profound message. You are still becoming. You are still learning. You are still allowed to grow. Anxiety often comes from the belief that life's beauty is behind you. But Buddhist wisdom says wisdom itself blooms later in life, when the noise settles, when the pace slows, when the heart becomes more honest. You are not declining. You are transitioning into a deeper chapter of awareness. Think of a tree in late autumn. It is not less than in spring. It is simply different, quieter, wiser, more rooted. Its beauty is subtle but powerful. Try this reflection. Ask yourself, what has aging taught me that youth never could? Maybe patience, maybe clarity, maybe an ability to love without conditions, maybe the courage to face things you once ran from. Let these teachings reshape your relationship with your own years. Let them soften the fear of each new wrinkle, each slower morning, each unfamiliar sensation. Aging is not taking anything essential from you. Aging is delivering you back to yourself, to the real you, the one underneath all the roles you once had to play. And when you see aging as a teacher rather than a threat, anxiety loosens its hold and begins to dissolve. Truth 6. Compassion toward yourself is the only real medicine. By the time you reach 60, you have likely cared for many people, children, partners, parents, friends, even strangers. You've soothed others' fears, carried their burdens, and offered comfort even when you were exhausted. And yet, when your own anxiety rises, you may speak to yourself with harshness, impatience, or disappointment. You may tell yourself you should be stronger, or shouldn't feel this way, or should have figured life out by now. But Buddhist wisdom teaches that the way you speak to yourself shapes the world you live in. Self-compassion is not indulgence, it is not weakness, it is medicine. And after 60, this medicine becomes essential. The Buddha taught that every being deserves compassion, beginning with oneself. Without it, the mind becomes tense and defended, always bracing for the next worry. But when you turn inward with gentleness, something remarkable happens. Anxiety begins to lose its foundation. It softens, just as a frightened child softens when held. I want you to hear this clearly. You have permission to be tender with yourself, not later, not when things get worse. Now. Here is a simple practice. When anxiety rises, instead of trying to push it away, place your hand on your heart and say softly, "This is hard, and I am doing my best." Let those words land. Feel the warmth of your own hand. Feel the body respond to kindness like dry earth receiving water. Self-compassion does not erase anxiety instantly, but it changes your relationship with it. Instead of fighting yourself, you begin supporting yourself. Instead of judging the fear, you soothe it, and in that shift, your nervous system relaxes, your breath deepens, your mind quiets. You've shown compassion to countless others. You know how healing it is. Now imagine directing even a small portion of that tenderness toward yourself. The years you've lived, the things you've survived, the silent battles you've endured. You are worthy of your own kindness. You always have been. And when self-compassion becomes your default response, anxiety loses its sharpest edge and begins to fade like mist in morning light. But when you turn inward with gentleness, something remarkable happens. Anxiety begins to lose its foundation. It softens, just as a frightened child softens when held. I want you to hear this clearly. You have permission to be tender with yourself, not later, not when things get worse, now. Here is a simple practice. When anxiety rises, instead of trying to push it away, place your hand on your heart and say softly, "This is hard, and I am doing my best." Let those words land. Feel the warmth of your own hand. Feel the body respond to kindness like dry earth receiving water. Self-compassion does not erase anxiety instantly, but it changes your relationship with it. Instead of fighting yourself, you begin supporting yourself. Instead of judging the fear, you soothe it. And in that shift, your nervous system relaxes. Your breath deepens. Your mind quiets. You've shown compassion to countless others. You know how healing it is. Now imagine directing even a small portion of that tenderness toward yourself. The years you've lived, the things you've survived, the silent battles you've endured. You are worthy of your own kindness. You always have been. And when self-compassion becomes your default response, anxiety loses its sharpest edge and begins to fade like mist in morning light. Truth 7. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. One of the most liberating Buddhist teachings is the understanding that you are not the thoughts passing through your mind. You are the awareness observing them. This distinction becomes incredibly important after 60 because the mind can become louder, more cautious, more imaginative in its worries. It might tell you that your best years are gone, that danger is near, or that you are running out of time. But those are thoughts, not truths. And the moment you recognize this, anxiety begins to crumble. Imagine your thoughts as clouds drifting across the sky. Some clouds are dark, some are thin and fleeting, some look threatening even when they carry no storm. But you are not the clouds. You are the sky. The sky is not harmed by the clouds that pass through it. This understanding gives you power. When a fearful thought arises, instead of tightening around it, you can simply say, "A worried thought is appearing." Naming it separates you from it. This practice is more than philosophical. It rewires the mind. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for calm observation, activates when you label a thought. This creates space between you and the fear. Space is where peace enters. Try this. Take a moment to notice one anxious thought that often visits you. Don't push it away. Just observe it gently, like watching a bird land on a branch. Say silently, "This is a thought, not a prophecy." Feel how the body relaxes with that clarity. Feel how the fear shrinks when you stop treating it as a fact. Over the years, you've collected thousands of thoughts. They come and go, they rise and fall. But the one who notices them, the deeper awareness behind your experience, remains steady, untouched, spacious. You are that awareness. You always have been. And when you remember that the mind produces thoughts the way the heart produces beats, you stop taking each one as a warning. Thoughts are simply movements of the mind, nothing more. And in this understanding, anxiety loses its authority. Truth 8. Your body holds anxiety, and it also holds the key to release. Anxiety is not only a mental experience. After 60, it becomes increasingly physical. It shows up as tight shoulders, a knot in the stomach, tension in the chest, or a restlessness that makes it hard to sit still. Many people try to think their way out of anxiety, but Buddhist teachings remind us that the body is where anxiety lives, and the body is where freedom begins. When you were younger, you may have ignored your body's signals. You pushed through discomfort, exhaustion, and stress. But now the body speaks more clearly and sometimes more loudly. This isn't betrayal, it's communication. The body is asking you to listen. Buddhism teaches a practice called mindful embodiment. It means paying close attention to the body with curiosity rather than fear. When you do this, you begin to notice patterns, where tension gathers, how fear feels, where fatigue settles. And with this awareness comes the ability to soften those places gently. Here's a simple practice you can try anytime. Sit comfortably. Bring your attention to your breath. Then scan your body slowly from the top of your head down to your feet. Notice any tightness, pressure, or discomfort. Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Simply acknowledge it. Then breathe into that area, imagining space opening within it. This kind of attention communicates safety to your nervous system. The body relaxes, the breath deepens, the mind follows. You might discover something surprising. Anxiety often fades when the body feels supported. This means a hand on your heart can calm your chest. A slow exhale can stop the spiral of thoughts. Relaxing your jaw can quiet your mind. Softening your belly can release fear stored there for years. Your body has carried you through decades of living. It has stored joy, pain, love, loss, and memories you've long forgotten. But it also carries resilience. It knows how to heal. It knows how to release. It only needs your presence, gentle, patient, consistent. You don't need to fight your body. You only need to listen to it. And when you do, anxiety begins to loosen like a knot, gently untangling. Truth 9. Everything you fear has already happened, and you survived all of it. There is a quiet realization that often arrives after 60, but only if you pause long enough to notice it. The things you fear most are almost never new. They are echoes, reflections, memories of past moments that felt overwhelming. Yet here you are, breathing, listening, still moving through your life one day at a time. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the mind recycles old fears and dresses them in new clothing. The fear of losing health, the fear of being alone, the fear of change, the fear of uncertainty. These are not strangers to you. You've met their earlier versions many times. You've walked through illnesses, heartbreaks, transitions, financial worries, and moments where you weren't sure how the next chapter would unfold. And every single time, even when you felt fragile or unprepared, you made it through. That matters. It matters more than your anxiety wants you to remember. When the Buddha spoke of fear, he described it as a shadow, a shape that looks threatening until you realize it has no substance of its own. Shadows grow large when the light is behind you, but when you turn toward the light, toward truth, recollection, clarity, the shadow shrinks. Part of that light is this: your history is proof of your resilience. Think of the hardest seasons of your life. Not the details, just the fact that they happened. Think of the moments you thought you would break. Think of the losses you didn't believe you could endure. Think of the nights you lay awake, convinced the future held no comfort. And remember this: you lived through them. You adapted. You learned. You kept going. Anxiety tells you that the future is dangerous, but your experience tells you that you are capable. There is a Buddhist reflection called the remembrance of strength. You practice it by recalling, one by one, the storms you've survived, not to dwell on pain, but to remind the nervous system, I know how to walk through difficulty. This remembrance calms the mind because it restores truth. Anxiety thrives on forgetting. Peace thrives on remembering. Try this gently right now. Bring to mind one difficult moment from your past, not to relive it, but to acknowledge it. Hold it softly in your awareness. Then tell yourself, I made it through that. I will make it through what comes next. Feel how this shifts the energy within you. Feel the body settle. Feel the breath deepen. Fear often comes from imagining yourself as helpless. But you are not helpless. You are someone who has lived a long life, someone who has gathered courage, wisdom, perspective, and emotional skill. These are not small things. They are the tools that built your resilience over decades. So when anxiety asks, what if I can't handle the future? You can answer with the truth. I have handled everything that has ever come my way. I will handle what comes next. Let this truth rest inside you like a warm stone, grounding, steady, reassuring. You are here today, not because life was easy, but because you are strong. Stronger than your mind remembers. Stronger than fear wants you to believe. And that strength is still within you now. It has never left. It will guide you through every tomorrow. Truth 10. Peace comes when you stop fighting life and begin moving with it. There is a moment, especially after 60, when you begin to understand something the Buddha taught again and again. Suffering is not created by life itself. It is created by the resistance to life. We suffer when we cling to what was, when we fear what might be, when we try to force life to follow a script it never agreed to. And anxiety thrives on this resistance. It feeds on the struggle, the pushing away, the tightening of the mind around what it cannot control. But imagine, just for a moment, loosening that grip. Imagine releasing the need for life to be predictable, perfect, or familiar. Imagine softening your stance and allowing things to unfold as they will, meeting each moment with curiosity instead of fear. This is not passivity. This is not giving up. This is wisdom, the deepest kind. Buddhist teachings call this flowing with the river of life. You don't have to fight the current. You don't have to strain against every change. You don't have to brace yourself for every possibility. Instead, you move with the river, trusting that you have the strength, the experience, and the inner stability to navigate whatever arises. Think of the river you've already traveled. Life has changed countless times. Jobs, relationships, homes, identities, health, seasons of joy, seasons of loss. And each time, the river carried you forward. Perhaps not where you expected, but always somewhere new, somewhere that shaped who you are today. Resistance is what exhausts the heart. Acceptance is what frees it. Acceptance does not mean liking everything. It does not mean never feeling fear or sadness. It simply means recognizing reality without fighting it, meeting it with an open hand instead of a closed fist. Here is a small practice to help you move with life rather than against it. When something worries you, a symptom, an uncertainty, a change in your routine, pause and ask softly, "Can I meet this?" instead of resisting it. Take one slow breath. Feel what softens inside you when you stop bracing. You will begin to realize something profound. Most of your anxiety was not about the situation itself, but about your resistance to it. When resistance fades, the situation becomes lighter, the fear becomes gentler, the future becomes less threatening. You begin to walk through your days with a sense of spaciousness, as if you have stepped out of a small room and into open air. This is the peace the Buddha spoke of, a peace not dependent on circumstances, but on how you relate to them. A peace that comes when you trust the river more than your fear. A peace that grows naturally when you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. And this peace, it is available to you right now, in this breath, in this moment, in this gentle decision to move with life rather than against it. If you've stayed with me through these 10 truths, let yourself feel the quiet strength that is rising within you. Anxiety after 60 is not a sign of weakness. It is an invitation to meet your life with deeper wisdom, softer breath, and greater compassion. These truths are not ideas to memorize, they are practices to live. If even one of them spoke to your heart, hold it close and let it guide your next small step. And if you want more reflections like this, you're welcome to return here anytime. You don't walk this path alone. I'm right here with you.